Hello, friends. Chris Corsi here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. I'm glad you're here. Today's focus is on the Foundational 5 intro course. And why do we need this resource? Well, friends, have you ever felt like you're flying blind? You don't have what you need. That's why I created this important resource, because all of us could probably use a little more charge in our relational batteries. And that's where we're going today. You see, a couple years ago, I felt like we needed a resource that could help people grow their relational skills, that could help them develop that charge in their relational batteries. Because what happens is when we don't have emotional capacity to suffer well, then we have a hard time managing life. We have a hard time staying present in big emotions or hard circumstances. And this is when we feel like we don't have what we need. When we don't have important relational skills, and more importantly, we don't have that capacity to manage the hard stuff of life, then we lose ourselves. We find it hard to stay our relational selves. And ultimately, that's where we're going today. Because we all have these times where we're in a situation or a relationship or a conflict, or we're just running late for work and we feel like we're missing something that we need. Little things become big things. It ruins our day. We have a hard time sleeping. We have trouble getting along with coworkers or family and friends. And see, when we're running out of capacity, then what happens is it's really hard to stay our relational selves. It's hard to keep your brain's relational circuit on. And we just tend to go into kind of problem solving mode. We go into enemy mode where we just wish that people would leave us alone, problems would go away, emotions would just disappear. And so when I felt like we needed this important resource, I picked 5 of the 19 skills that really are the crucial foundational skills. And these became the foundational 5 skills. And so this foundational 5 intro course really does go into these practical skills. There's teaching, but more importantly, there's exercises, because ultimately what we have to do is we have to practice these skills. And as we practice these skills, we grow capacity. We find that we can stay anchored in the hard time, in the storms of life. And so when we learn to stay relational, we avoid enemy mode, because it's when we're in enemy mode that we kind of forget who we are and we say and do things that don't really reflect our values. We just feel like we're surviving rather than thriving. So in addition to what we call skill 0, the relational circuit, in this intro course is also glad to be together joy opportunities. This is what we call skill 1. We are looking at how do we grow some joy in our lives. And you know what? Your joy is as good as your ability to rest. And so skill 2 is what we call simple quieting. And there's some practices in this course to help you catch your breath, take that pause so that you can calm down whenever you lose your peace. And then we have skill 4, which is what we call create appreciation. And when we practice creating appreciation, we reflect on the good times, we remember the good times, and we share some joy with our people, with our coworkers and our family and our community members. And so appreciation is what helps us be able to focus on the good thing from our day and not get lost in the hard things. We're not discounting the hard stuff, but we learn to bounce back when we have some capacity. And appreciation is one of those skills that really grows our capacity. But the icing on the cake is what we call skill 13, God sight. And God sight is just simply seeing some of what God sees. So what does God see when he looks at the hard stuff in your life? What does God see when he looks at that person that you're having a hard time getting along with right now? What does God see when he looks at your busy day? And what does God see when he looks at those things that rob your peace? And so this introductory course is really giving you practice with these foundational skills so that you can learn these skills and that you can grow these skills in your life and in your family. And the nice thing about these skills in this course is we can practice this with other people. So while we can certainly do these things on our own or do these things with the Lord, we can also practice these things in our family and our community. And when I had this idea of creating this resource, I wanted to test this resource with a local skill practice group that I lead every week. So every week I meet with a group for about 75 minutes and we practice some exercises. And so I started to introduce these exercises that are in this introductory course. And the results were beyond what I expected because people started to practice these skills. They could feel their brain change, as some people would report, but they noticed a difference in how they felt, how they were thinking, how they were even interacting with their family. So something was happening as they started to put these skills into practice. And that's when I knew, okay, there's something here because it's affecting people and they're noticing the difference. And one of the big differences that I would hear from people is they felt like they had more of what they needed to navigate life. They could be more present, they could be more engaged, more relational, they could be more peaceful and joyful. And again, it doesn't mean that they suddenly had an absence of all the bad stuff in their life. But what was happening is they were getting what they need. They had that charge in their relational batteries. And friends, that's what it's all about. So, as you think about what do I do with all this information? Well, one of these great resources is the introductory course, the Foundational 5 introductory course that you can practice. And mainly, you start noticing how are you doing? Like, what kinds of things rob your peace? What kinds of things rob your joy? And we start to pay attention to our body and our breathing and our muscle tension, basically being a non anxious presence. And that's what happens when we grow more joy and we can quiet and we can reflect on the good things. Friends, you can do this stuff. You can take little moments throughout your day. You can quiet, you can calm, you can breathe, you can reflect on some good stuff, you can share good stuff with other people, and you can live in your face and you can build some joy and you can notice times where you're relational and times that you're not relational. But the course really puts this together in a very organized, strategic way so that these skills build on each other. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're after, that you can practice these skills in an orderly way and build some joy. And so this course is not designed specifically as a group resource, but we do have a resource. If you want to go through this with a couple of friends, we have a PDF with facilitator tips that would be helpful. All you have to do is email us at info@thrivetoday.org, and we can get you that resource. And I encourage you, take a little bit of time, go through this course, practice it, and start to watch what happens when you grow some joy in your life.